Congratulations on your purchase of the Breadman Ultimate. Now you can have fresh baked breads in your own home anytime without the fuss and mess of traditional baking methods. Simply measure the ingredients, place them in the pan, and let the Breadman do all the work. The Breadman will mix, knead, rise, and bake your bread. It has pre-programmable functions, so the Breadman will also bake bread while you sleep or work. Your time is precious, and you can have warm, fresh, healthy bread ready when you want it. The Breadman Ultimate combines the newest patented and versatile features, which allow you the flexibility to make the most varied breads, cakes, special doughs, even jam in this incomparable bread maker. Like a computer, this machine has many new programs which you can set up in making your own perfect loaf of bread. That's why they call this incredible home bread machine the Ultimate. At first, you may be surprised by the satisfying, rich flavor of these healthy breads, especially if you're not accustomed to eating whole grain foods. The taste and texture are so delicious, you'll think you've discovered a new food. In fact, you will find that many of the so-called health breads at the supermarket aren't all that healthy. Shortening, syrups, and sugars have often been added to enhance the flavor. For many of these breads to claim any food value at all, the flour has been enriched with only a few of the 26 essential nutrients stripped from the grain during the milling process. When you read the labels of mass-produced bread, you will see that most bread flours are enriched with niacin, iron, thiamine, and riboflavin. The organic, whole-grain, unbleached, unbromated flours have all the vitamins, minerals, and fiber just as nature provided. The Breadman has been designed with special thought to the health-conscious. It allows you to make whole-grain, natural breads which are high in complex carbohydrates, proteins, and fiber without unwanted preservatives, pesticide residues, bleached flour, stabilizers, or other additives found in mass-produced breads. With homemade bread, you control the ingredients to suit your taste and the personal dietary needs of you and your family. In fact, with the Breadman bread maker, not only will you feel good about the great food you are feeding your family, you will never need to buy mass-produced bread again. As you watch this video manual for the Breadman Ultimate, you'll notice that it's divided into several sections: an overview, basic baking techniques, special features, and advanced baking techniques. However, this video is not a substitute for the owner's manual. Always read the owner's manual prior to operating this appliance. The Breadman Ultimate is loaded with features including white bread, whole wheat bread, loaf-size choices 1, 1.5, and 2 pound, sweet, fruit, nut, and herb breads, French, batter breads and cakes, jam, bread dough, pizza dough, crust color control for light, medium, and dark settings, patented extras dispenser, fully random 10-minute pause, 24-hour delay bake timer, removable lid, fully adjustable custom program controls, bake only with variable temperature control, and last but not least, 5 personal recipe settings. Now let's take a closer look at your new Breadman Ultimate. The Ultimate has 4 major parts: the removable lid with steam vent, window, and a patented extras dispenser, the non-stick horizontal baking pan, pan handle, and kneading blade, the inner case with heating element, the touch-activated control panel, which gives you total control of the baking process in a simple, straightforward way. Please read the instruction manual and save it for future reference. It has many tips, recipes, and fully detailed instructions for use of this product. Pay special attention to the important safeguards and safety tips found on pages 2 and 3. One popular way to use your Breadman at home is to use a bread machine bread mix available from the store. These mixes are formulated specifically for use in automatic bread makers. They come in a variety of whole wheat, multigrain, and other blends. Be sure the mix is for either a 1, 1.5, or 2 pound loaf. For this machine, the maximum amount of flour used must not exceed 4.5 cups. Read the instructions carefully and follow the measurements exactly. Let's show you how easy it is to bake bread. First, open the lid and remove the bread pan. Rinse it thoroughly before your first use. Place the kneading blade into the bottom of the baking pan and firmly fit it on the drive shaft. When baking with one of these mixes, measuring the correct amount of water is crucial. Use a measuring cup that is accurate and you trust. Measure the correct amount of water and pour it into the baking pan. Now open the large ingredient package and gently pour it on top. Remember, always put your wet ingredients in the pan first. The yeast always goes in last. Using your finger, make an indentation in the flour mix. Open the small yeast packet and carefully pour the contents into this pocket. The yeast must not touch the water. Early activation of the yeast may give you unsatisfactory results. Place the baking pan back into the inner casing. Push the pan down into the casing until it snaps into place. Now close the lid. Do not open the lid during the baking process. If you open it during baking, you will affect the baking temperature, and your bread may not turn out as you'd like. If you'd like to check the progress of the bread, look through the window. Please don't touch the casing because it becomes hot. By the way, the window will fog up early in the rising kneading process. This is normal, and the condensation will dissipate as the baking continues. Let's look at the control panel. You'll find the Select button. When you plug the Breadman Ultimate in, the white bread, 2-pound, medium crust setting automatically appears. If this is not the type or size of recipe you are baking, press Select until the type of bread on the display corresponds with the type of bread mix you have. Use the loaf size control button to select the size of loaf you are preparing. The crust control button allows you to choose light, medium, or dark crusted bread. The rapid settings reduce the time when the dough rests and rises, baking a fresh loaf more quickly. Note, the crust control selection may be set for the white, whole wheat, French, fruit and nut, or batter bread cycles. Once you've chosen the program, loaf, and crust color, press Start. The display will tell you how much time remains for the bread to finish, counting down every 60 seconds. The display will also tell you which cycle the machine is currently baking. That's it. In just a few hours, you will have delicious, fresh, home-baked bread. When the Breadman is finished baking, it will chime. Remove the loaf pan using a good pair of oven mitts. Open the lid, the machine will still be hot, and lift the baking pan out using the handle. Slide the loaf out onto a cooling rack. If you place the loaf directly on a flat, unventilated surface, the crust will sweat and become soggy. If you forget to remove the bread right away, don't worry. There is an automatic cycle which gradually cools the bread down. Check the baking pan for the kneading blade. If it is missing, it is in the bottom of the loaf. When the bread has cooled, remove it carefully with plastic tongs or a wooden spoon. Never use metal on the blade or the baking pan. This is a non-stick surface and can be damaged by metal utensils or scouring pads. After the bread has cooled about 20 minutes, it is ready for slicing. For clean slices, it is best to use a bread knife with a long serrated cutting edge. Baking bread from scratch is one of the most rewarding cooking experiences. Working the dough, the aroma of the baking hearth have always been part of human life. With today's hectic lifestyles and the Breadman, baking bread has become easy enough to do every day. Baking bread is an acquired skill. The subtleties of different grains and yeast, your altitude, and the temperature and humidity of the day all have small effects on the final product. Some recipes are harder to master, but with time and practice, anyone can make even the most specialized of breads successfully. In this section, we will focus on a bread that is healthful and tastes great. We will be making an extra large 2-pound loaf of honey whole wheat. It is best to lay out all your ingredients in front of you before you start to assemble them. You will need 1 1/2 cups of water, 4 1/4 cups of 100% whole wheat bread flour, 2 teaspoons of sea salt, 1/2 cup of honey, 1 1/2 tablespoons whey, 2 tablespoons of canola oil, and 1 3/4 teaspoons of active yeast. Remove the baking pan and make sure the kneading blade is in place. Carefully measure out the water and pour it into the baking pan. The water should be about 80 degrees, and the rest of the ingredients should be at room temperature. Add the honey. Now add the oil. Canola oil contains no saturated fat and is preferable for healthy breads. Next, using a measuring cup designed for measuring dry ingredients, measure out the flour by spooning it into the cup, then leveling it with a knife. Scooping directly with the cup will overpack the flour. Measure the sea salt and add it to the mixture. Add the dry milk or whey. Whey contains less fat and is a perfect substitute for the dry milk. If you can't find it, dry skim milk is next best. Now make an indentation in the top of the flour mixture and place your yeast there. Return the baking pan into the oven compartment and fit it into place. Close the lid. Press the Select button until the whole wheat setting number appears. Then choose your crust color and loaf size and press Start. Now you're done. The Breadman takes over. With less than 10 minutes of prep time and no big messes or cleanups, you'll have the best homemade bread you've ever baked. The Breadman Ultimate has several other features that make bread making in your home more convenient and flexible than ever. Delay finish up to 24 hours. Dough only. Patented extras dispenser. Batter breads and cakes. Jams. Pizza dough. Waking up to the aroma of fresh bread or cinnamon rolls in the morning used to be limited to special occasions or holidays. Now, the Breadman has made it easy to wake up every day to this wonderful pleasure with its delay baking timer. You can prepare the ingredients in advance, turn the machine on, and the bread is ready when you want it, up to 24 hours in advance. Prepare your mix or scratch recipe as demonstrated earlier. Place the pan into the casing and close the lid. Select the proper settings for the bread you are making, and then with the arrows indicating up and down, the amount of time you would like to elapse between now and when you want the bread finished. If you'd like bread at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning and it's 10:30 p.m., push the arrow until 9:30 appears. That's the time difference from 10:30 p.m. to 8 a.m. As you see, the time advances in 10-minute intervals. If you depress the button and hold it, the time will advance quickly. The down arrow will help you adjust the time downward. Now, press Start. The operation light will go on and the preheat cycle will be indicated. The Breadman can also help you with other baking chores. Making rolls or braided breads is possible using the Breadman and a conventional oven. The Breadman will mix, knead, raise your dough and tell you when it's ready. To use the Dough Only feature, mix your recipe as we've talked about. Then select the Dough Only setting. When the machine chimes that the dough is finished, remove the pan, then remove the dough from the pan. Form it into the desired shape and bake in a conventional oven according to the recipe. In the same way, this machine is ready to prepare pizza dough. Following your favorite recipe, the Ultimate will mix your dough and have it ready for you to hand roll, top, and bake in your oven. Some recipes ask for the addition of fruits, nuts, herbs, and even veggies and cheese. If these ingredients are added too early during kneading, they can break apart. So the Breadman Ultimate has a patented extras dispenser for adding these special ingredients. Prepare the complete recipe omitting the fruit or nuts. Place the fruit and nuts into the trapdoor compartment on the top of the lid. Now select your cycle, then press Start. Next, push the Extras button and select Add Extras or No Extras. Add is for adding those special extras. No will shut the dispenser off. Once the Add selection is made, the dispenser will automatically open at the end of kneading cycle 2. At this time, the fruit and nuts will fall free into the bread pan and mix at the optimum moment of the knead cycle, resulting in a luscious fruit and nut bread. You can also use the dispenser with the delay finish timer. You can also bake batter breads with the Ultimate. All types of non-yeasted breads such as zucchini, carrot, or banana breads. Just measure and add the ingredients, select the batter bread cycle on the display, then crust color, and press Start. To top off that perfect slice of freshly baked bread, your Breadman makes the tastiest of homemade jams. Simply follow the instructions in the owner's manual and let the Breadman do all the work. The Breadman Ultimate has a custom program button which allows you to alter the kneading, rising, and baking times in the pre-programmed cycle. This gives you the opportunity to experiment and refine your results based on the type of flour or yeast you are using. It also lets you factor in humidity and room temperature, the types of influences which can affect the bread. Say you have a specially milled flour and you'd like the dough to rest, knead, or proof longer to maximize the flavor or texture of the bread. Custom Program is easy to master. Simply press the Program button after you select the bread type. The Ultimate will cue you step by step. Perhaps you want to preheat the ingredients for 10 minutes. Just press the up arrow button until it reaches 10 minutes. Once this is done, simply press Program again and the Need 1 function will appear. If the time is okay with you and doesn't need to be adjusted, press Program and move on to Need 2. If you want time here to decrease, you may do so by pressing the down arrow until it reaches the desired minutes. Follow this process through the steps of the cycle, adjusting where you wish. After all of the steps have been programmed, you can also program in extras. Press Extras if you want them, and adjust the baking temperature. The baking temperature is set to the optimal Fahrenheit temperature for the type of bread, so adjust with this in mind. To finish up, press Program one last time and the screen will prompt you for Save or Erase. Press Yes and then Start if you're ready to bake. Press Yes if you simply want to program. Press No if you want to start over. Don't worry, you won't erase the Master Framework program. It's still in the memory, and if you hit Erase Yes, you'll see that the screen returns to the normal cycle times. Bake Only has variable time and variable temperature. You can now bake a dough which was pre-made or purchased at the store, or perhaps your recipe calls for the dough to rest in the refrigerator for an extended time. Simply select the amount of time you need to bake, up to 1 hour and 30 minutes, then adjust the temperature range from 200 to 375 degrees using the up and down arrows. Press Start. For advanced bakers, the Ultimate has 5 personal recipe memory cells. This means you have 5 personal memories to program and save for your best favorite recipes. Again, Personal Recipe lets you be as creative as you need to be. If you want the dough to knead for 20 minutes, degas for 10 seconds, and rise for an hour, just program in the numbers. If you want to skip a phase, press the arrows until you hit 0. Then press Program and move on to the next phase of the baking program. Follow the instructions for Save, Erase, as with the custom programs. If you wish to make filled breads, pull apart rolls, braided bread, score the top of the loaf, or add seeds to the crust, this can now be done with the Breadman Ultimate's Pause feature. It is similar to the Pause button on your VCR. By pressing down on the Pause button for about 2 seconds, the cycle will pause for approximately 10 minutes. Here is an easy demonstration to make a filled loaf. After the second punch down, activate the Pause function and remove the dough. Roll the dough into a rectangle. Cover the dough with sliced sun-dried tomatoes, goat cheese, basil, rosemary, and a drizzle of good olive oil for a delicious Mediterranean bread. Simply roll up the dough, tuck in the ends, and return to the baking pan. Push the Pause button again, and the cycle will restart where you left off. By the way, if you forget to push Pause after 10 minutes have elapsed, the Breadman will automatically restart where you stopped. To add decorative or flavorful toppings to your loaf's crust, it isn't even necessary to remove the dough. Simply pause the machine as shown, lift the lid using an oven mitt, and baste with olive oil or an egg white wash and top with poppy, sesame, or caraway seeds, or score the dough for a beautiful rustic-style crust. If during baking your home should lose power or someone pulls the plug, the Ultimate has an internal backup that picks up baking at the exact spot in the cycle where power was lost. If power is not restored within 1 hour, we recommend that you bake another loaf from scratch, as the yeast may have overproofed. This guideline should always be followed if you're baking with eggs, milk, butter, or cheese. Cleanup is easy with the Breadman. If needed, wipe out the baking pan with soapy water and a soft sponge. Again, never use scouring pads or metal utensils because they ruin nonstick finishes. If you drip something on the unit itself or inside the baking chamber, let the machine cool completely. Make sure the machine is unplugged. Then using a damp, soft sponge, wipe the mess away. Well, there you have it. Healthy home bread making is now at your fingertips. We hope you enjoy years of this natural nutrition for you and your family. Using a broad selection of the finest recipe ingredients, you and the Breadman are now in charge of your own healthy bakery. For more information about this machine or to purchase any of these fine Breadman accessories, call toll-free 1-800-233-9054 or visit our website at www.salton-maxim.com.